This is the plate for the Juki 1700 cover stitch machine that is not necessarily required, but good to have if you're wanting to use binders. I decided to get the German plate instead of the Swedish one just because it has all these different holes, and I thought there might be more flexibility in getting a belt loop folder and different binder attachments and whatnot. So that's why I decided to purchase this piece, at least from him. And I did buy a package that had the plate and one binder, pretty much any size you want, and I'll show you that binder in a minute. It also came with these cool tweezers, super long ones, and some extra screws and washers, and oops, and this cool little screwdriver that you're going to need to install, and that's what I'm going to do right now. It's pretty easy to see where you're going to insert the screws right here. And I'll try to do this without blocking the view. There we go. And this guy. So that part's super easy. As far as the binder goes, I ended up getting, this is a 1-inch, I don't know what they call it, but it folds it in half. I would call it a single fold, but that's not what it's called. Basically, it'll take your bias piece and it just folds it once in the middle in half. You can also use this with pre-made, pre-folded binding, you know, that you buy the rights, or I got this cute little cotton one from Etsy, and that's what I'm gonna be using. You can also use it with fold over elastic that you get in 1-inch. And of course these come in all different sizes. If you have the thinner elastic or narrower binding, or bias tape, I guess I should say, then you can use that for this too. But I got the 1-inch, so it will fold and be a half, which I think, you know, is a pretty good size. So I am going to kind of put it on here, but it's going to take some adjustment once we get everything all set. Okay. So when you are putting the bias in there, you know, just like you would the other one, you're going to fold that and give it a nice little point. Makes it easier to get through. You're going to have the inside edge facing you. Yeah, go ahead and start putting that in there. This part's a little easier than with the knit or probably elastic. I'm going to bring that through and then kind of give it a little poke, help in here. Maybe go ahead and fold it over there. The first time I did this, I did find that the bottom kept trying to be longer, so I did adjust this with the little tooth. This is the top tooth and there's a bottom tooth, and I moved this tooth back this direction so I would get more of the binding, a little bit more of the binding on top. Try to have it a little more even that way, but either way, let's see. Okay, so I can already see that I need to move this whole thing that direction. So you just kind of loosen those guys and bring it over. What I can see right now is that the outside edge of my bias strip is lined up with this edge of this like inner little tooth of the foot. So I'm going to kind of go with that for a second and tighten it up. and see how it goes. All right, I'm going to put my needles in there, see if it's going through. It seems like it is. Then, if you like where it's lined up, and you probably won't really be able to tell till you put some fabric in here, I'm going to do a test. And for every time in different fabric and different bias or binding, you're probably going to have to test each time, because all those different variables could make things work differently. I have my settings at 3, and I have a narrow set to the right side needle setup. And let's just see how it works here. Hopefully it will. All right, there it goes.
Closer to the needle.
There it is. On this side, you have the cover stitching. Probably I would do it again and move everything a little bit more to the left, so this stitching would be a little bit closer to the inside edge, but it's not bad. But using this already folded bias tape makes it cool, because you do have the double edge, so it's finished on both sides effect, but you didn't have to, you know, fold it yourself, and you didn't have to even have a double fold. You could have the single fold, which you can also use for the elastic, so it's pretty cool. Okay, so the binder and plate together came as a set. I paid $72, that's including the shipping, and it took 13 days for it to arrive from Germany to Minnesota.